Fake HOA smashed an army medic's truck mirrors at a charity event. No less. What kind of person wrecks a veteran's truck at a charity event meant to honor heroes? The sun was dipping low over Oak Ridge Estates, casting long shadows across the community center parking lot where the annual Veterans Fundraiser was in full swing. Laughter and clinking glasses spilled out from the hall, where locals gathered to support wounded warriors. But outside, a storm was brewing, one that would expose the ugly underbelly of a self-appointed neighborhood tyrant. Inside, Jake Turner, a 32-year-old Army medic who'd served 2 tours in Afghanistan, was the man of the hour. His nonprofit, Heroes Haven, had raised thousands for veterans' mental health programs. Jake's truck, a beat-up but beloved Ford F-150, sat in the lot, adorned with a faded Proud Veteran sticker. It was a symbol of his service, his sacrifice, and his relentless drive to give back. But not everyone in Oak Ridge saw Jake as a hero. Karen Whitaker, the unofficial queen of the Fake Homeowners Association, had been watching him with a scowl all evening. Karen, a 46-year-old real estate agent with a penchant for control, had declared herself president of the Oak Ridge Community Council, a group with no legal standing but plenty of influence. For months, she'd been harassing Jake over his truck's unsightly appearance, claiming it lowered property values. Never mind that Jake's home was paid off, or that he spent his days counseling struggling vets. To Karen, rules were rules, even ones she made up. That night, fueled by a mix of wine and spite, she decided to take matters into her own hands. As Jake spoke inside about PTSD recovery, Karen slipped out to the parking lot, tire iron in hand, and smashed both of his truck's side mirrors with a vicious swing. Glass shards rained onto the pavement, catching the glow of a nearby streetlight. She didn't know a security camera was rolling her, that a witness was about to change everything. The truth unraveled faster than Karen could spin a lie. As she stood over the wreckage, smirking at her handiwork, a teenage volunteer named Mia, who'd been setting up tables for the event, stepped out for a break. Mia, 16 and sharp as a tack, had her phone in hand, live streaming the fundraiser for her school's community service club. She caught Karen red-handed, the tire iron gleaming in the frame. Mia's voice trembled as she narrated, "Is that Mrs. Whitaker? She just smashed Jake's truck." The clip, barely 30 seconds long, hit social media like wildfire, racking up thousands of views before Karen could even slip back inside. By the time Jake stepped out to check on his truck, a small crowd had gathered, murmuring in disbelief. The evidence was undeniable. Karen's power trip had crossed a line. But here's the twist: Mia wasn't the only one watching. Old Man Jenkins, a reclusive Vietnam vet who rarely left his house, had been sitting in his car across the lot, nursing a coffee and watching the event from afar. Jenkins, 78, had no love for Karen's fake HOA nonsense. He'd clashed with her before over his unkempt lawn, which he kept wild to attract bees. When he saw Karen's stunt, he didn't hesitate. Hobbling over with his cane, he confronted her in front of the growing crowd. "You think you run this place, Karen? That man's a hero, and you're out here acting like a thug." His voice, gravelly but firm, cut through the murmurs. Karen, caught off guard, stammered about community standards. But Jenkins wasn't having it. He pulled out his own phone, revealing he'd recorded the whole thing too, from a different angle. 2 videos, 2 witnesses. Karen's reign was crumbling. The confrontation turned electric as Jake emerged, his face a mix of shock and fury. He didn't shout or curse. He just stared at the shattered mirrors, then at Karen. "This truck got me through deployments, supply runs, and now charity drives," he said, his voice low but steady. "You broke more than glass tonight." The crowd's mood shifted, anger rippled through them. Karen, sensing the tide turning, tried to deflect. "This is about respect for our neighborhood," she snapped, waving the tire iron like a scepter. But her words fell flat. Mia, still live streaming, zoomed in on Karen's face, capturing her defiance for all to see. Comments poured in online. "She's a bully. Arrest her. Support Jake." The internet was merciless, and Karen's carefully curated image as the neighborhood's guardian began to crack. Karen's downfall was swift and brutal. By morning, the videos had spread beyond Oak Ridge, picked up by local news outlets and veteran advocacy groups. The so-called Oak Ridge Community Council was exposed as a sham. No bylaws, no registration, just Karen and a few cronies throwing their weight around. The police arrived at her doorstep with a warrant for vandalism and malicious destruction of property. Karen tried to play the victim, claiming she was protecting the community, but the evidence was ironclad. Jake's truck, a symbol of his service, became a rallying point. A local auto shop offered to repair it for free, and donations poured in for Heroes Haven, tripling their fundraising goal overnight. Karen, meanwhile, faced public humiliation. Her real estate business tanked as clients dropped her, unwilling to work with someone who'd attack a veteran's property. The community council dissolved, and Karen's name became synonymous with petty tyranny. But the real victory wasn't just Karen's comeuppance, it was the community's awakening. Jake, ever humble, used the spotlight to talk about the veterans who needed help, not himself. Mia's livestream inspired her school to start a veteran support club, and Old Man Jenkins, once a loner, became a local legend for standing up to Karen. The fundraiser, meant to raise a few $1,000s, brought in enough to fund a new counseling program for vets with PTSD. Jake's truck, mirrors restored, rolled out of the shop with a new sticker, "Heroes don't break." The community learned a hard lesson about power, pride, and the cost of envy. Karen, once the queen of Oak Ridge, faded into obscurity, her actions a cautionary tale about what happens when you mistake control for leadership. So, what do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or was there more to her side of the story? Should Jake have pressed harder for justice? Or was the community's response enough? Share your thoughts below, and let's talk about where the line is between standing up for what's right and falling into petty vengeance.